Hey everyone, today we are taking a look at Bay Ruins in adventure mode. This is a new dungeon that just came out and is easier than some of the previous dungeons that I've seen. However, this time around we worked really hard to get a lower DPS group to really see all the mechanics. First off, for this boss, what you're going to have is two sets of stacks. The room is broken into two different colors, and you'll see right now I'm on the brown side, and as I stay on the brown side my stacks go up in the middle of my screen. When the stacks get to 7 stacks, or before they're at 7 stacks, you have to switch to the other side. Here you can see I have red text over my head that appears at 7 stacks and then disappears when my stacks get below 7. So now I'm gaining a blue stacks on the bottom, which I want to again only get up to about 7 and then switch over to the brown side. There are some AoE attacks here. You can see this the room was half yellow, so you want to avoid the blue on that. And there's these angled, like triangle attacks. Also, every so often the boss will push you back. These are all fairly easy mechanics. You can see though that the person behind me ended up in an ice cube, probably because they had too many stacks and were not switching sides, or because they were caught in that yellow half room AoE. But either way, these should be easily avoidable things. So here again, my stacks for blue got up to about 6. So I'm switching over to the brown side. Again, you've got that half room yellow AoE, and you just want to switch sides. Now, again, I worked really hard to get a low DPS group here, and the healer that I have was just absolutely awesome in this group. However, it was really just us for everything. So our DPS really sucked. So for this, it's going to go really slow. I'm going to end up fast forwarding through the rest of this fight because that's all for mechanics. You really just need to watch those stacks in the center of the screen and switch to one side of the room or the other. I hate to cut out too much of a fight, but it's pretty much just the same thing, and I don't want to drag this video out for the 28 minutes it took us to clear instead of the normal 5 to 7 minutes it took us normally to clear this dungeon. So I'm going to skip a little bit of this and move on so that we can get to the next boss. One thing that I really appreciated about this dungeon was at least the mobs between the bosses died fairly quickly. There was not a lot of dragged out, trying to clear mobs between bosses. Even if you end up pulling a boss and there's mobs around, it really did go quickly and you were able to kill them fast. So the mobs don't have a whole ton of hit points. Now here we are at the second boss, and there's a few mechanics for this, most of which you can actually DPS straight through and kill without ever doing any of them. The first is this green circle. If you have a green circle around you with red text over your head, you want to move away from the group. Here we were kind of on the edge, so it's not very helpful. But if you center the boss, which kind of works better, if you get the green circle around you, you can move out to the edge of the circle and drop it further away. You can see here someone else has the green circle around them. And nope, this is one of the ones when they drop it in the middle. All right, later on there'll be some good examples of this. So here somebody else has the green circle. I think in this case they're going to move it out towards the edge so they drop it further away from the group and you don't end up having green puddles in the middle. So they do eventually clear, so that's not a huge problem. The main mechanic for this is going to be this red circle, kind of misty area around you. Now there's 3 sets of crystals right here at the edge. I just picked up the red crystal, and I'm going to move it over to the red circle, and then I'm just going to place it down there. Then you can get the other circles. Now here you can see we've got someone else who picked up the blue one and is taking it to the blue circle. You'll notice that there's a casting bar under the boss's name, and if all 3 of those crystals don't make it onto the 3 lighted areas, by the time that casting bar is all the way down, it'll do a large AoE and end up killing a lot of your lower hit point players in the group. So here we lost a few of our DPS. Now we're going to go back and just continue to DPS the boss. Up next, there'll be this mechanic where like the room goes into like quarters. There's yellow around the room. just avoid it. You'll kind of go, it always goes in a circular pattern. So just move out of the way of the yellow and go around. And that's pretty much it for the mechanics for this boss. It took a while before I even saw that quarter of the room thing. So here there's also like a directional yellow AoE. You can just avoid that. That's fairly simple. And then I think we'll end up with the red text and green circle again. Here we go. And this player will need to move out. You can see they go to the edge to drop that green puddle in the back. All right, now I'm going to skip through some of this. Actually, I think the next round of the red circle is coming up next. So again, here's the quarter of the room thing. Just move out of the way of that. And now we're going to end up with the floor turning red again and needing to do the crystals. Or it will eventually get there if I can get my DPS up a little higher. At this point, it's just Zeke and me for the crystals. So he took the one for the far side, which worked really well. I grabbed the two that were closer. First, I picked up the red one and took it over to the red circle while he is very slowly, because you move very slowly with the crystals, while he's slowly working his way to the purple. Actually, he was able to blink. I don't know how he did that. Oh wait, no, that's just somebody who rezzed in the back. Okay, so I then go and pick up the blue one and put it on the blue circle while he gets the one on the purple. That will interrupt that boss from the casting, as you can see here, without killing any additional players. And we were able to then move on with attacking the boss. Now, during this phase, you can continue to DPS the boss. It doesn't go to like 1 damage or anything. So if you have anybody who's a decent DPS in the group, you will be able to just DPS right through that without doing the crystal phase. Now here we got this kind of like star pattern of yellow around the room. This does happen a couple times. So just try to avoid the yellow and you should be all right with that. All right, I'm going to continue to fast forward a little through this. And during this phase, we're just going to, again, avoid any yellow AoEs and move any circles out to the edge so that we're dropping the green puddles at the back. Now here we have the third phase of yellow, and I'm going to go over and pick up the red crystal. Now all 3 of these circles are a little, well actually the blue one is pretty close. There is a 4th phase that we actually hit of this red where they're all further away, and it makes it a little more challenging with 2 people. It would definitely be easier if we had a 3rd player helping us out, but since we have one of these circles close, I'm able to pick up the last crystal and move it to the blue before the casting bar is done. All right, and now it interrupts the boss without taking any additional damage. Okay, I am going to fast forward through a lot of this section here. You're going to see more of the yellow AoE circles around the room and some more of these star AoEs here, and then another round of these red kind of crystal section where you're trying to move the crystals across the room. Now, I will say at this point in the video, you have already watched more of this video than it took for me to run this dungeon the first 4 times that I ran it. So, you know, you probably will get through most of this without it being so slow. And at this point, we actually were able to kill the boss, thankfully. Okay, at this point, go ahead and clear all the mobs up to the 3rd boss and around him. If you're, you know, again, they're pretty low health for these mobs, so you can probably just pull the boss if your DPS is decent. Now, I found for this boss, it's actually easier to kind of tank it right along the edge and move slowly around the circle. And that is because there are puddles that drop and lines you have to avoid, and that's most of the mechanics. So here, I'm just going to grab that last mob and pull it over to me, and then go ahead and DPS the boss. Now, let's fast forward a little to get into really the heart of this fight. Okay, so the first real mechanic here is that these yellow circles will drop, and it actually drops around where the player is standing, so you need to just move over slightly, which is why I say it's easier to move your way around this room in a circle. You'll see now that the section behind me where the players were all standing are all now covered in puddles, and the other side of the room is all clear, so we have a large area to work in. And you can actually clear out these puddles. You have to watch for a message, which I'm going to fast forward a little bit until I get to the section where that message is. Okay, I lied. I fast forwarded. I skipped it instead of fast forwarding. So here you'll see this purplish circle with the orb over it. I just got pushed back, so I have to run back over to it. When I stand in this, I get this blue shield around me, and when I walk over each of the puddles, it dissolves those puddles so that it clears out the room. You'll see here, I am running over those puddles, and as long as I have that blue shield on me, it will clear out the puddles. Now you might ask, how do you get that blue shield? And honestly, I had no idea until I started actually realizing that we could do something. So here, I'm going to fast forward again because it took me a little bit to see the mob. But actually, before I fast forward, in the background, you can see my teammate does have that blue shield around him, and he is going around and clearing the room for me. So we are now puddle free, which makes this awesome, because between these yellow lines and the puddles, the room is going to be pretty packed very quickly. Now you'll see this message above me that says unstable element appears and shift focus now. Somewhere in the room will be a little elemental mob, and I do not see him right now, but I do see him a little bit later. So, okay, Zeke had already killed him and gotten the shield, so I do not see him this round, but next round I will look for him. I think I see him after this round. So he's going through and pretty much letting me DPS, which is fine, and clearing out the puddles around me. Now, let's see. The message should appear in just a second. Here's the unstable element appears message again, and I should see him right around me somewhere. I'm looking for him. There he is. Okay, he's right under the boss right now. There's an elemental, and you'll see that that purple circle just appeared as soon as he died under the boss. And I have the shield around me again. Since the room is not packed with puddles, I am not going to worry about having that shield around me, and I'm just going to continue to DPS the boss. If I want to, I could step into one of the puddles and it would just clear it out because I have the shield on me. So here's the... Nope, that's one of the players. That's not an elemental. So again, just move out of these yellow circles that are going to drop around you as you move around the room, and avoid these lines. I think you can hit the crystals, but because my DPS is so low anyway, I'm not going to be able to clear the crystal in any decent amount of time, and it's easy enough for me to avoid. So I'm just going to focus on the boss. But if you wanted to kill these crystals, I think you can, and that will stop half of the lines around the room and make your life easier, at least as far as avoiding lines goes. So let's see, this elemental should appear in just a second again. I know there was some really good shots of it, and I just wanted to kind of show you guys how to go about doing that. So avoid these stacking on your friends with these purple circles around you. This is a normal mechanic. And that's going to drop a purple puddle. And then we're going to get the yellow circles for the blue puddles. Now let's see if he's going to appear again. Again, it's pretty slow because my DPS is low. Okay, I'm going to skip a lot of the fight because you get the idea. But here we're going, so you can see the elemental next to me. And I'm going to go ahead and just switch over to him and DPS him in a second to kill him. So he's kind of following me. You can see him right next to the boss. And here I'm just going to switch over and he's dead. So now there's that circle there. Zeke is going to grab the circle, get the shield around him, and clear out the blue and purple puddles for me so we don't have so many around the room. You get the idea. It's pretty much, you know, that's all there really is to the fight, is drop these puddles, clear them out, and avoid the lines. It'd be great if we killed the crystals also, and if this goes to an overlord level and we actually have DPS that survive, I think it would be great for the DPS to switch focus and kill the crystals. But for right now, I'm just going to try, and here's this elemental again. I'm switched over to the elemental, and I'm killing the elemental while I'm dropping the puddles and avoiding the lines. Alright, you get the idea. I'm going to skip ahead a little. Thank you so much for watching all of this. It was really long, and hopefully it helps you learn some of the mechanics. So if this ever goes into Overlord mode, you know how to do the dungeon. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.